Hey everybody, welcome back to Mike Talks with Miss All. I am your host, Miss All. If you've watched previous episodes of my podcast, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to rock with your girl. And if this is your first time watching an episode of Mike Talks with Miss All, this is your personal welcome. I'm glad to have you here in my community. You know what? I need to come up with a name for my community so that when I come on, I can greet y'all like, "Hey, community," but it'd be your name. So if anybody has a name or any suggestions, let me know, because I'm gonna be thinking of some too that I can call Miss All's community when I come on. So if you're new, or even if you've viewed before and you haven't, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button so that we can stay connected and that you are aware when new episodes air in the future. And then hit that notification bell. So I hope everybody is doing well. I know life is lifing, and it's a whole lot going on in the world right now. But we just have to do our best to stay encouraged and believe for the best. So hang in there. So today's episode is going to be a bit personal for me. I kind of put that in my blast that I posted the other day. But I also think it's something that a lot of people will be able to relate to. What I want to talk about is generational impact, and specifically the impact that parents make on their children. So today's episode actually evolved from a conversation I had recently with someone about swimming. And what came out of that topic was when I shared that I can't swim. Can't swim at all. And I'm better now, but I have been worse. And I've had a severe fear of water. Like I said, I'm better now, but I've had this all of my life. So yes, my grown, because I'm twice grown, self can't swim. But we also talked about how many other people we have talked to or met or encounter who also never learned how to swim and also have a fear of water. And so that's where this topic came from, just this conversation. So let me be transparent. I cannot swim. I'm this many years old and I can't swim. And I have been afraid of water as far back as I can remember. But it was never a thing. I never thought much about it when I was younger because none of my friends could swim. Nobody had a pool at their house. We didn't spend a lot of time at the pool. I mean, the closest we came to the pool was if somebody had one of those little kiddie pools in their backyard, or if we took the water hose and we got sprayed in the yard and then your mama fussed at you because you was using all that water up and you was going to drive a water bill up. But swimming was never like a big thing in my little circle. So it really didn't impact my life much because no one around me could swim. So I guess we just normalized not being able to swim. Now, I did take those swimming lessons in gym class, but that was just, you put your head under the water for 3 seconds and then you pass gym class. So that was the closest I came to learning how to swim. And I did what was required of me with that swimming cap on so that my relaxer, hey, dark and lovely, my relaxer wouldn't mess up my hair. So that was the other thing. But as I got older, I started to ask myself, why don't you know how to swim? What is the real reason that you don't know how to swim? And why do you have this fear of the water? Did you ever have a traumatic experience? Did something happen? But when I would think about those things, I could never come up with anything. I didn't have a specific reason that would come to mind that let me know why I was so afraid of water. And then it finally started to dawn on me, and I realized that my mom couldn't swim. And my mom had a severe fear of water and water activities. And because of her apprehensions and anxieties behind swimming and swimming activities and water, I think in my life, I just started to connect swimming and water and fear. And so then I realized that this fear of swimming and not knowing how to swim had been passed down to me generationally. I remember her warnings if we would go close to water. She would say, be careful, don't go too far in the water, you could drown. Or, Lorna, remember, you can't swim. And so I know she said those things out of love and concern, and also because she knew she couldn't swim. But her fears and her hesitations became mine. And they followed me all the way into adulthood. And so I became a grown-up who couldn't swim and who had fears of water because that was passed down to me from my mom. Not intentionally, but her life just became my life. And it wasn't necessarily all about the spoken messages, it was the unspoken messages. And as a child, it was coming from my mom. So that was a trusted source. And her messages to me were, this is dangerous. Stay away. And I took heed to that. Because if my mom is telling me it's dangerous, I need to listen. She only loves me. But little did I realize it was her generational impact and her apprehensions towards water and swimming that was being passed along to me. So let's stop here for a minute and let's just chat about you. How many things can't you do or don't you do, or you're hesitant to try or believe that you could never do? How many of those things have roots that trace back to your family or your parents? What things do you think were created as a result of generational impact? Just think about that for a little bit. And it's probably been normalized, so it may not even stand out to you. But think about that. You know, maybe your parents never owned a home. And so some people think, well, I'm never going to be a homeowner, because they think that all they've known is renting. Or maybe your parents never traveled much. And so the thoughts of you traveling outside of the country or just somewhere new in general, not even necessarily out of the country. Or here's something that I've heard of before. What about not eating vegetables? Some people only eat certain foods. Or here's a good one. Or how many of you have biases or prejudices towards people different from you? And that has been passed down from your family or your parents. You know, parents give us love, they gave us wisdom and guidance, but they can also give us limited thinking, unmerited or unwarranted fears. They can also pass those things along to us. and not thinking outside of the box. So just think about it. Some of the things that you're reluctant to do, kind of think about where they may have come from for a little bit. But here's where the story shifts for me. So a little over a year ago, I did a thing. I took swimming lessons. Yes, I did. Now, I'm not a swimmer yet, so you're not going to see me stroking through the swimming pool, and I'm nowhere near being an Olympic swimmer. But I took lessons and I did some things that were huge for me. Things I never imagined I would do. I floated on my back. I did a front float. I put my head under the water. I put goggles on and I went underwater and I was looking around at the people swimming and I could see the feet, and I thought, I never imagined that would be something that I would do. I don't even like water getting in my ears when I'm washing my hair. So the thought of me going underwater was probably something I would have told you years ago would have never happened. So what I'm going to do is, when I took those lessons, I asked someone to film it for me. And so I'm going to share the video of me doing the back float and then a picture of me doing the front float so you can see my work. Now, it's a little grainy, so it may not be crystal clear, but I just want you to see that. So just take a look at that for a bit. So y'all see that? So that's my proof that I did it. Y'all saw y'all girl doing her thing in that water. Don't be jealous. But I did it. I really did that. She did that. And that is years and years and years of generational fear. And now I have proof that I didn't let that fear be my final answer. So when I came up out of that water and I could breathe and see underwater and my ears were fine, I was telling myself, so this what you've been missing out on all your life? I felt, let me see, what's the word? I felt victorious, and I felt like a new freedom was there for me. It was amazing. Just the feeling. And again, I'm not a swimmer yet, but I overcame some huge hurdles. So another shift in the generational impact of swimming and water fears happened with my son. Now, when I had him, I told myself I am going to make sure that he learns at a very young age how to swim. And I was committed to breaking this cycle. And I told myself not being able to swim is going to end with me. Now, mind you, I hadn't done any lessons at that point, but I knew in my mind I didn't want him to have the same fears and apprehensions and anxieties that I had. So I just remember taking him to his swimming lessons and just watching his confidence and his fearlessness, and he just in the pool jumping all around and smiling and giggling and water everywhere while he's learning how to swim. And I'm sitting on the side. Now, mind you, my chair ain't that close to the edge either, because I'm thinking to myself, I could fall into this pool in this chair. But I sat on the side and I'm thinking to myself, Lord, please don't let nothing happen to my baby. Because I can't do nothing but jump in that pool and drown with him. But just to watch how excited he was in there and just learning, and he had no fear. And I have to admit that I was so proud of him, but also of myself. And the level of excitement that I have was amazing because I was watching this cycle break right before my eyes. And it was a proud moment. And even at the end of my lessons, when I finished up my lessons, I thought about the fact that if my mom was there, how she probably would have felt exactly the same way that I felt watching him, no matter what age I was. She would have felt the same way. Just a sense of freedom and the cycle breaking. So when I was at his lessons, I was also reminded that we don't just live for ourselves, and the choices that we make have a significant impact on the people around us. So let's go back to our thoughts we had just a few minutes ago, where I asked you to think about something that may have been generationally passed down to you. And I want you to also think about, so what's your swimming lesson? What is the thing that you could do to try to break that cycle and then allow the next generations after you to not have to deal with that? So what generational impact items do you carry from your parents or your family because someone was hesitant to take a risk or to think outside the box? Think about that thing. That's my challenge to you this week. What thing is that? So you can go ahead and step in that water and break that cycle and put them goggles on and go underneath and pass down something new to the next generation, no matter what it is. So maybe your swimming lessons are traveling somewhere new, going back to school, starting a business, preparing to purchase a home, eating broccoli or Brussels sprouts, or eating something baked instead of fried. Whatever it is, you have the power to break the cycle and make that generational shift. You have the ability to do that. You know what? I just had a thought. So when after you watch this episode, leave a comment and let me know if you know how to swim or not. I'm curious to see the results. Like I said, me and the person we were having the conversation with, we were talking about how common this is. And I just like to know from the people that are viewing this episode, let me know if you can swim. Let me know if you can't swim. Let me know either way. But back to your swimming lessons. Swimming lessons may not be swimming, or it may be swimming. What is your thing? Start to work on that and break that cycle and bring about some positivity down your generational lineage. So I want to thank you for joining me today again. I'm always happy to have you here. And if this episode helped you, or if you know someone who it could help, share it with others as well. Because sometimes all it takes is one conversation to help someone make a change. So my plan is to continue with swimming lessons and to actually learn how to swim. I've overcome some major hurdles and it is on my list to continue to do this. So this is the wrap up of the episode of Mike Talks with Miss All today. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and again hit that notification bell so you're reminded when the next episode airs. I post episodes every other Tuesday, so you can look for me then. And for those of you who maybe haven't viewed any previous episode and you're curious as to who Miss All is and where the name Miss All came from, go back and watch episode 1, and I explain where the name Miss All resulted from. And then if you haven't watched some of the other episodes, go back and view those too. So I just want to remind all of you as I wrap up this episode, do all, love all, and be all you were created to be. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. So go be great and break them cycles and do something different. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night. Now have a good day and have a good week. Talk to you later. Bye.